Hi everyone, um, welcome back to a new session. So today we'll be discussing about CUET. Okay, CUET exam. We'll be looking on to CUET biology specifically. Okay, so here we'll be dealing about, or after the session, students, you will be getting an um, overall idea about the exam as a whole, that is CUET as a whole, then specifically how you are going to prepare for the biology domain of CUET. Okay, the biology domain of CUET, what is the purpose? Okay, why CUET matters, and how the question paper pattern of CUET biology is, and we'll be at the end, finally we'll be discussing some questions. Okay, how to answer questions we'll be studying. Okay, right, so let's start the session. Yes, first let's get an overview of CUET examination. Okay, generally what is CUET? Okay, so CUET, as we can see in the slide, CUET is Common University Entrance Test. Okay, that is the full form. Okay, so in the full form itself, you can see it's a common exam. Okay, and it is an exam which gives you eligibility to join a university. Okay, so before we had like separate entrance exams for each universities, whether it is a central university or a deemed or a private, whatever. Okay, but then now we have an exam, we have a common entrance test to get into the universities, especially to the central universities, right? It's a national level examination in India. Okay, specifically, they are offering, that is, once you have qualified this exam. Okay, it can be any domain. We'll be going into the domain in the upcoming points. So, it's a national level examination in India for admission to undergraduate, postgraduate, as well as research programs. Okay, so accordingly, we have CUET UG, okay, CUET PG. Okay, we'll be dealing with CUET UG. Okay, it's conducted by National Testing Agency. Okay, and we have a wide range of participating universities which provide admission through CUET exam. Okay, and it includes central universities, state universities, private universities, and deemed universities. Okay, now the exam is conducted for languages. Okay, Hindi, English, regional languages, whichever languages you want to study. Okay, for your higher studies, if you would like to take one language as your core, and if you want to study, you have exam for language. CUET languages are there. Okay, for specific languages, as well as the exam is for domain subjects. So what are the domain subjects? The domain subjects include biology, chemistry, computer science, mathematics, physics, sociology, and so on. Okay, we have many subjects, we have many domain subjects, um, which we can write. Okay, now the CUET exam, it was started in the year 2022. Okay, so the exam has been um, conducted recently. Okay, that is from the year 2022 it started, and this was as part of the NEP. I hope everyone knows what NEP is, National Education Policy, right? So as part of NEP, CUET exam was started in the year 2022. Okay, the question is why CUET matters. Okay, what is the significance of CUET? And the significance lies, as I said earlier, it was started in the year 2022 as part of National Education Policy. Okay, so yes, so following NEP 2020, now we have what, 4-year degree courses. So before we used to have 3-year degree courses, BSc, BA. Okay, so now as part of NEP or following national education policy, we have 4-year degree courses. So what is this 4-year degree course? It's actually an undergraduate program that provides in-depth knowledge and skills. So it is really different from the 3-year degree program that we had earlier. Okay, so let's understand what is this key features of this 4-year degree program, or how is it different from the previous 3-year degree program. Okay, so as the first point mentions, one of the key feature is it's no longer 3 years. The duration have changed. Now it has become a 4-year degree program. So 4-year degree program means we'll be having more content to study, or there is a chance for getting more skills to be developed than a 3-year program. So you're going into a much more into depth into the subject, okay, than earlier. Okay, then another important significance is it has multiple entry and exit points. So what does this mean? Multiple entry and exit points. That is, I told it's a 4-year degree program, right? So one person joins, okay, he have completed 1 year, okay, now he's planning to change his domain, or he's planning to go for some other studies, or he's planning to get a job. So you may think that now he is a dropped out person, but if you are enrolled in a 4-year degree program, whether it is 1 year or 2 year, you will be getting a certificate that you have done so and so in this year. Okay, so that's actually very important, or that's actually, I think it's a very good thing, right? So before there is, to get a certificate, that means to get a certificate you don't need to complete the 4-year program, or you don't need to wait for 4 years. Okay, whether it is 1 year or after 2 years, you can get a certificate and leave the university, and you can apply for another program using that certificate, right? Then the 4th year, okay, the 4th year of the 4-year degree program is wholly dedicated to honors. Okay, that means the 4th year is completely covers the research component of the domain. Okay, where you will be having a lot of projects and things like that. Because the 4th year is completely dedicated to the research component of the program, after the 4 years, you are eligible for joining the PhD program, right? So before, after 3-year program, you couldn't directly go to PhD program, you have to complete your masters. But here, you can skip masters. So after the 4-year program, you can start applying for your PhD program, because the 4th year is completely dedicated to the research component, and the candidate is made ready to apply for a PhD program, or he or she is eligible for a PhD program. Okay. The next significance, or the key feature of the 4-year degree program, is the course content. Okay, we have multiple courses within the domain. For example, if you are studying biology, okay, you will be not dealing with biology alone for the whole 4 years. You will be it will be multidisciplinary. You will be studying many other disciplines, discipline specific, minor course, interdisciplinary subjects. All will come under this. See, that is very, very different from the 3-year program that we had earlier. Okay, so you will be not have you will be having idea about biology as well as other interdisciplinary and minor subjects that you are choosing during the program, right? And the last and the final important significant feature is the career readiness. Okay, once you complete the 4-year degree program, you are actually really eligible for a job. Okay, right. So these things make what the 4-year degree program very important. So to get into this 4-year degree program, you need to qualify CUET exam. So in that way, CUET exam is very important. So I hope students you got the answer for this question. CUET matters, right? Now we are specifically going into CUET biology. Okay, so this is actually the details regarding the exam. So CUET biology as well as other domains, they are conducted in online mode. That is, it's a computer-based test. Okay, so you will be familiar with NEET exam, where it is pen and paper mode. You will be given the OMA sheet, but this is different. Okay, you will be going into the centers, and you will be asked to do the exam on a computer. So it's a computer-based test, MCQ pattern. Okay, multiple choice questions, and the syllabus is purely class 12 NCERT. Okay, so you don't need to worry about class 11. It's completely class 12. Okay, class 12 syllabus they are following. When you come to the number of questions they ask, we have 50 MCQ questions. Okay, just 50 MCQ questions, and the duration is 60 minutes, 1 hour, right? And for every correct answer, 5 marks will be awarded, and for every incorrect answer, 1 mark is reduced. So the problem lies here again, right? Negative marks. So you should be careful about that. Guessworks will not give you good marks. Okay. You should only attempt the answer if you are that sure. Okay. Otherwise, your marks get reduced because see, 1 mark will be reduced. It's -1, right? So for unattempted questions, you don't have any negative marks. When you look on to the total marks, it is 250. Okay, so we have 50 questions, and each question carries 5 marks, so 50 into 5. We have 250 marks as total. Now, if you ask what is the level of the exam, it's moderately tough. Okay, and when it is conducted, usually between May 13th and June 3rd, that's when they usually conduct the CUET biology exam, right? So I hope you got a rough idea about CUET biology exam as a whole. So this is actually a basic details about the exam. Okay, if you have any doubts, please do let me know in the chat. I'll be clearing it. So let's go into the next slide. So I hope students you will be very familiar with this page. This is actually the screenshot of your class 12 textbook, the index page. Okay, so this is our syllabus for CUET biology. Okay, so we have almost 5 units. Okay, and we cannot give any priority to any of the units. Like we cannot expect questions from just 2 units or 3 units. Every units are important, but I'll give you some tips and tricks how to study and all. So let's just go through the syllabus, even though the syllabus is very familiar to you. So this is the class 12 syllabus, and as I said, we'll be only having questions from the class 12 part. Okay. So first is reproduction, the unit reproduction, where we have 3 chapters coming under it. Okay. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants, which is the botany part of it. Then human reproduction and reproductive health is again, it's zoology. Then genetics and evolution, it comes under both. It's a general biology subject. So we have principles of inheritance and variation, molecular basis of inheritance, evolution. Then biology in human welfare, it's zoology. Okay, where we have 2 subjects. It's basically the microbiology unit. Then we have the biotech. Two topics are coming under that too: biotechnology principles and processes, and biotechnology and its applications. Okay. Then the final unit, ecology. Okay. This is also, it's both zoology and botany. Um, we have 3 chapters coming under it: organisms and population, then ecosystem, biodiversity and conservation, etc. Okay. So I forgot to tell one thing. Biotechnology is also both zoology and botany. So even, okay, I'm actually marking zoology and botany chapters here, but we don't have such a categorization in the question paper. So we will be having random questions from zoology and botany. Fine. So this is our syllabus. Okay. So when you compare with the NEET exam, the syllabus is really condensed. Okay. The whole class 11 portion you can skip. There is no need to learn it. You only just need to concentrate what? The class 12 syllabus, the class 12 portion, right? Let's go to the next slide. Yeah. So we, when we did an analysis, that is, I already told, no, this CUET exam started from the year 2022. So we have almost 3-4 exams have been done. So based on that, we did an analysis, and what we found is we have majority of questions are asked from 2 or 3 chapters. That means, see, we have 13 chapters. Okay, we have 13 chapters. Among these 13 chapters, they mainly concentrate 2 or 3 chapters. That means we have more questions coming from 2 or 3 chapters only. We don't have like equal questions coming from chapter 13 or chapter 3, nothing like that. We have like, they just take 2 or 3 chapters. I don't know how they select. Okay, they select 2 or 3 chapters, and you can see more questions specifically asked from that area. So what I mean to say is, we don't have equal questions coming from different chapters. I mean, if you have 13 chapters are considered, you cannot say like two each questions come from each chapter. They select 2-3 chapters on some basis, and it is varying from year to year. Okay, different on each year they are asking different questions. They are selecting 2-3 chapters, and the questions are asked from these 2-3 chapters. Okay, then the exam is usually lengthy. That is, you have a question pattern which is very different from the neat biology that you see. So you have lengthy questions. That means you have to read. Okay, you may get paragraph questions, and you have to read, and then you will be having 4 or 5 following questions you will be having. So students usually say that the exam is lengthy and they face some time constraints, okay, because they have a lot to read, okay. They often, they're not able to complete the reading, and they're not able to finish the paper, they used to say. That is basically the analysis, okay. So here I have mentioned about the hot chapters. That is basically the chapters from where more questions are asked, okay, which we never know what it is, okay. It varies. Okay, next we have an analysis of the anticipated marks and the admission prospects. So students, you already, we said that the total marks is out of 250. 250. Okay. So out of this 250, if you score between 200 and 230, you will be getting admission to top ranked universities like Delhi University DU, Banaras Hindu University BHU, and Jawaharlal Nehru University JNU. So if you're the top rank, means your mark should be somewhere between 200 and 230. Okay. Then if your marks lie somewhere between 172 and 200, okay, you are fit for top central universities. Okay, so each state has their own central universities. Okay, Central University of Punjab, for example, Central University of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Central University of Kerala. So if your marks are somewhere between 172 and 200, that means you are eligible for admission to 4-year UG programs in top central universities. Okay. Then if your score is somewhere between 140 and 170 marks, okay, it enables you to enter into mid-tier universities. Okay, mid-tier universities. Like we have some mid-tier universities, means we have some good universities, private universities. So they are also for the 4-year UG program. You can enter. If your marks are somewhere between 140 and 170, you can easily apply. But then getting this mark and focusing on DU or other top central universities, I think will be a bit difficult. Okay, and again, it will be based on the how much competition we have for that specific program. Okay, And finally, if your marks is somewhere between 100 and 140, we can say it's an average mark, and the admissions are very limited. Okay, you may get admission to university, but then again, uh, it will be a less competitive universities. Okay, many students may want apply for it, so you may get admission there. Below 100, there is no chance actually to get admission anywhere. So your focus, or everyone's focus, is what? To get into top universities of India. And everyone's dream is to get into universities like Banaras Hindu University and BU. For that, you have to score very good high marks for your CUET UG, get good ranks. Okay, maybe many of them will be having, if you see two, three students come to, for example, to the DU, and they have same marks. Okay, maybe say for example 210 marks, right? So again the rank differs. See, so to get into good universities, your marks should be somewhere between 200 and 230. I mean the top ranked universities. Okay, so this is just an analysis of the marks and the admission that we get. We have category-wise CUET cutoffs. Okay, and this cutoff may vary with the different years, but then this is the expected cutoff. So, as usual for general category, um, we have like around 180 to 230. Okay, 1 minute. Yes. So, yeah. So for general category, we have cutoff between 180 and 230. For OBC NCL, we have cutoffs like 150 and 200. Okay, that means if you're in a general category and if you're scoring somewhere between 150 and 200, that means in your category it is not a good marks. Okay, but then for if you are in an OBC NCL category, it's fine. Okay, then EWS you have 150 to 200 is the cutoff. Then SCST it is 120 to 170. Okay, so I hope you got an idea about how the cutoff goes. Okay, wait a second, I'll just change the color. Right. Yes. Now let's look into the question format. Okay. How is the question being asked? What is the nature of questions and things? So we have conceptual versus factual questions. So what does that mean? What is conceptual and factual questions? So conceptual questions means it will be based on some concept. So that means you should have a clear idea about the concept. Concept clarity should be very important. Factual questions, again in biology, factual means it will be some definitions or terms or something which you need to by heart. Okay, so you will be having plenty of direct questions. Okay, so you can expect direct questions. So if you are good at by hearting some terms, okay, I won't say to by heart. You have to understand the concept behind it. You have to understand and learn. But then, if you learn in that way, all these factual questions will be very easy to solve. Okay, because they will be direct, nothing will be indirect, everything will be direct. If you have read the topic, if you are clear with the term, you can easily answer. Then you have application based questions. It's the type of questions where students normally find it difficult to answer, where concept clarity is very important. If you have just simply read and if you're going to attempt the exam, you will be not able to answer any of the application based questions. So application based questions means you need to have a clear idea about the topic. The concept should be very clear. Then only you will be able to apply it. So we have a quite number of application based questions in CUET. Then next is the passage based question. So that many students, like, they say that no, the question paper is lengthy because they have passage based questions there. Okay, where a paragraph will be given and you have to read carefully, like maybe you might have done English comprehensions, right? So in that similar way, you will be given paragraphs. It will be not paragraphs from your NCERT text or anything. It will be, the content will be safe. Okay. So you will be given a paragraph followed by a 4 or 5 questions will be there. It will be MCQ questions, right? So the time is, if you have like 2, 3, or 5 passage based questions, uh, you have to read, right? So it takes time. So you have passage based questions, or they call it as comprehension in the question paper. It comes under the heading comprehension in the question paper. Okay. Then the fourth kind of questions that you can see is sequence arrangement. Okay, so what is a sequence arrangement? Sequence arrangement is where you have, maybe it can be, I can give an example of a process. Maybe it's a process happening, or it will be based on a structure, like what comes next after one, after that what comes, and there will be in a form of a flow chart, okay, or how one kind of process is happening. That's what sequence arrangement means. So I can simply represent it schematically, like A giving you B, giving you C, giving you D. So this will be jumbled up in the question paper, and you will be asked to find the correct order. Okay, so sequence arrangement questions can be from a process, okay, maybe any of the biological process, or it from a structure. Okay, for example, if you take the case of a reproductive organ, you have different parts, right? So you may be asked, they may give a starting term, so you may be asked like what is the next part after that, and what is the next part after the preceding one, and so on. Okay, so that also, you should have a clear idea, right? You need to read and you need to study, then only you will be able to attempt that. Okay. Then next interesting question is the situational questions. Okay, so they'll present a scenario. Okay, and that scenario will be very new. Okay, just an imaginary scenario they will give, and they will ask for the biological interpretation. Maybe what is the biology behind that, they may ask. Again, it's just MCQ. Okay, everything is MCQ. So you will be given options. In that way, it will be easier, right? So that is like a different kind of question, a different type of question that we see, the situational questions. Okay, right. So this is an overall idea about CUET, specifically when you're concentrating the CUET domain, the domain biology. Okay, so do you have any doubts? Okay, if you have any doubts, please do post in the chat box. I can take it and answer for you. I'll quickly go through once again the whole slide. So first, we were dealing about, or I gave you an overview of the CUET examination. Okay, what exactly it is, what is the significance, like as a class 12 student who's about to uh, leave the school and for your higher studies, how CUET is important for you. I explained everything. So the full form, CUET full form, then the conducting bodies NTA, and you get admissions in central, state, private deemed universities, and it's conducted for languages as well as for domain subjects. And here we are concentrating, or here I'm giving you a detailed idea about the domain subject biology, and how we are dealing that. Okay, how CUET biology questions and question paper pattern is. And this started in year 2022 as part of the National Education Policy. Okay, and there comes the significance of the CUET exam, and why a candidate who is passing out from class 12 need to appear for this exam. Okay, so if you're not going for either engineering or medicine, your next plan will be to study in detail, or like to master any of the domain subjects, either languages or any of the domain subjects. So In that way, the CUET matters. Okay, into which institution you enter, it matters. Okay, so it all is based on your CUET scores. Okay, so again, you will be appearing for a 4-year degree course, right? Just after your class 12. And the 4-year degree program, we just uh, discuss the key features of the 4-year degree programs. So the 4-year duration itself is sufficient for you to master the subject. Okay, you'll be given an in-depth knowledge. Okay, you'll gain lot of skills. Multiple entry and exit point is one of the main feature of a degree program, where you will be getting a certificate after just a 1 year, after completing just 1 year of that 4-year degree program, or just the 2 year of the degree program. Okay, then the 4th year, you will be completing it with the completing the research component of it as a honors. And after this 4-year program, you will be eligible for the PhD program, right? Then when you look onto the course content, we have multiple courses coming into it. We have discipline specific and minor courses coming to it, and interdisciplinary subjects. Okay, and finally, after this 4-year degree program, you will be ready for a career. Okay, in terms of if it's PhD or in terms of other jobs. Okay, so in that way, 4-year degree program is really important for us, and for getting into a 4-year degree program in one of the top universities of India is also important. Okay, top universities of India is also important. For that, you need to get good scores in CUET. Okay, now CUET biology. Okay, so CUET biology, it's conducted in online mode. Okay, we have MCQs strictly based on NCERT class 12 syllabus, and it consists of 50 MCQ questions, and duration is 60 minutes. For every correct answer, 5 marks. So total it's out of 250. Okay, then we told about the negative marking. So students, there is no guesswork. Okay, then the exam is moderately tough. Hmm, and the exam is conducted usually between May 13th and June 3rd. Uh, actually, you have enough time after your boards. Okay, then again, a detailed view about the syllabus, the class 12 syllabus. Okay, then the analysis. Okay, they specifically concentrate 2 or 3 chapters or hot chapters from the 13 overall chapters that we have, and they ask questions. And exam is usually lengthy because I told no, we have all these passage questions and the scenario based questions. So students say that they have some time constraints, so you have to be careful about that. Again, when you attempt passage questions, concept clarity is very important. So when you to save time in that point, what you have to do is, if you have a good concept clarity, that means you can easily can read the passage very fast, right? But then time takes when you it's when it appears like you are learning this. I mean, I'm hearing the terms for the first time in the passage, so that means that it takes time. So if you have a good concept clarity, if you're thorough with your class 12 textbook, then the passage based questions you can easily attempt, you can easily read, and you can save a lot of time by like actually by increasing your reading speed, right? Then I told about the how much marks you need to get into the universities. Okay. Then we discussed about the expected cutoffs for different categories. Then the question format we have, conceptual and factual we have. Okay, a pretty number of questions. Then application based. I gave you a clear idea about the passage based questions, sequence arrangement. Okay. Then situational questions. Okay, now let's have a question discussion. Okay, so I have taken 3 questions from our last year exam. and I have presented it before you. So let's discuss this. Let's discuss in brief the concept behind it also. Right? Students, are you ready for that? Okay. So let's start. So we have the first question here. So I'll just read the question. So when you read the question, be careful, okay? Uh, Especially the question what they are asking. So here we have a couple of options, and we are asked to choose the correct answer. Okay, so let's read. Arrange the following spermatogenic cells in the correct sequence of spermatogenesis. Okay, so we have four spermatogenic cells here, and we are asked to arrange them in the correct sequence of spermatogenesis. They are spermatids, spermatogonium, secondary spermatocytes, primary spermatocytes. Choose the correct answer from the options given below. So, students, I hope you understood like where this question is from. Okay, this is from the very first unit, human reproduction. In that, the male reproductive organ, right? And this topic comes there. The topic is spermatogenesis. Okay, spermatogenesis. So spermatogenesis means it's simply what the formation of sperms, and the formation of sperms happens where in testis. Okay, testis is the male reproductive organ. So spermatogenesis happens in testis. Okay, so here we are given spermatogenic cells. So we are asked to identify how these spermatogenic cells gets transformed from one cell to another, and we are asked to find that correct sequence. Okay, so here we have the spermatogenic cells. We have the spermatogenesis happening in the seminiferous tubules of the testis. Okay, seminiferous tubules of testis. Okay, so we are starting with what? Okay, we are starting with spermatogonium. Okay, so in seminiferous tubules, you have spermatogonial cells. Okay, spermatogonial cells. These spermatogonial cells will change into primary spermatocytes. So you have millions of spermatogonial cells. Among that, some of the cells gets converted into what? Primary spermatocytes. Primary spermatocytes. Okay. Okay. And the primary spermatocytes gets converted to secondary spermatocytes. Secondary spermatocytes. Okay, and the secondary spermatocytes then becomes spermatids. Okay, spermatids. And finally the spermatids become spermatozoa. So I have just given you a rough idea about the formation of spermatozoa or the sperms. So in between we have different steps coming in. That is, spermatogonial cells will undergo meiosis, okay, and it becomes primary spermatocytes. Primary spermatocytes will undergo meiosis too. So here we have meiosis one. I'm just representing it as M1, and here we have M2. Okay, it becomes secondary spermatocytes, and secondary spermatocytes become spermatids. Okay, And spermatids, again, it undergoes some differentiation to form sperm because sperm or the spermatozoa is having a different structure, right? So, spermatogonial cell here is the B option. Okay, so B, this is B. Okay, primary spermatocyte is the D option, and the secondary spermatocyte is the C option and A option, right? So B, D, C, A. Option 1 is the correct answer. B, D, C, A. Fine. So if you want to answer this question, this is a sequence arrangement question. Okay. If you ask me what is the question format, this is a sequence arrangement question. You need to have a clear idea about the spermatogenesis process, then you will be able to easily understand this. And another trick is, if you know that the starting point is spermatogonial cells, then it's more easier because the options are more favorable to you. We have B as the first one is coming only in one of the options. So there is no much confusions. Okay. So in that way also logically you can answer this. Fine. So let's move on to the next question. Yes. So this is the passage based question that you can see in CUET biology. Okay. Again, I'm reminding you, you may feel this is very difficult because when you see the question, it's a paragraph question, you'll be in a hurry, like you'll be thinking whether you get time to complete. Nothing like that. If you have a clear idea about the concept clarity is very good. You can easily answer this because your reading speed will be a little bit high because all the terms that you're seeing, it will be familiar to you. So you can read fast. So let's read this. It's a comprehension question. Read the following passage and answer the next five questions. So you have a passage followed by five questions which you have to answer. Restriction enzyme is the heading. So let's read the passage. Restriction enzyme cut the strand of DNA a little away from the center of the palindrome sites, but between the same two bases on the opposite strands. This cleaves, this leaves single-stranded portions at the ends. There are overhanging stretches called sticky ends on each strand. They are named so because they form hydrogen bonds with their complementary cut counterparts. This stickiness of the ends facilitate the action of the enzyme DNA ligase. The word palindrome refers to the group of letters that form the same words when read both forward and backward. Restriction endonucleases are used in genetic engineering as molecular systems. So, if I'm explaining this passage is actually very easy. Okay, they are just giving you an idea about what restriction enzyme is. So restriction enzyme, they are molecular scissors. They cut DNA. Okay, we call them as endonucleases or exonucleases. So that all are again extra points. I'm just giving you an idea. That's all. So they where specifically they cut a little away from the center of the palindrome site. So you have palindrome sites uh, in when you learn about restriction enzyme because they specifically go and cut on the recognition sequences. Okay, and recognition sequences will be palindrome. Okay, and the cut is between the two bases, and as a result of the cut you will have single stranded portion at the end. Okay, when there is a cut, the double stranded DNA at that cut position you will be having single stranded overhangs. Okay, and these overhangs are called sticky ends, and they are why they are named, so they are named because they form hydrogen bonds with their complementary cut counterparts. That is, if they are again kept together they may form hydrogen bonds, so they are given a name as sticky ends. And the stickiness of the ends facilitate the action of the enzyme DNA ligase. So from that you can understand that DNA ligase act as what? It act as a glue. Okay, it acts as a glue and it helps in sticking uh, the cut DNA strands together. Now they are also giving you a definition of what palindromes are, which everyone may know or may not know. No problem, they have given the definition of that also. And restriction endonucleases are used in genetic engineering. They are used as molecular scissors. Okay. So I hope you got an idea about this. I think by line, I have explained everything. Now let's go into the questions. So overhanging stretches on each strand is called, okay, hydrogen bond, sticky end, ligase, palindrome. What do you think the answer is? It's a direct question from the passage given above. Overhanging stretches on each strand is called, you have that sentence over here. Overhanging stretches called sticky ends on each strand. So the answer is sticky end. Okay. Now the second question. So they said we have five questions. So the second question is, which one of the following enzyme helps to join DNA? DNA polymerase, RNA polymerase, DNA ligase, endonuclease. So from this passage, what do you think the answer is? Okay. The stickiness, this sentence, right? The stickiness of the ends facilitate the action of the enzyme DNA ligase. So I told no, DNA act as a glue. Okay. The stickiness helps the DNA ligase to glue the DNA ends. So the answer for this question is DNA ligase. Okay. Now, which bone forms on sticky end of each strand? Okay, which bone forms on sticky end of each strand? Again, it's another easy question from the passage itself. The options are peptide bone, hydrogen bone, sulfur bone, carbon bone. What do you think it is? Okay, you can either answer it by knowing, you may know, no, you know, I know this is the answer, so and so is the answer. Or if you are logically thinking, if you have to answer from the passage also, you can actually attempt this question and make it correct, because in the passage they are only talking about one bone, and that is just hydrogen bone. So if you have to answer the question based on this passage, of course the answer will be hydrogen bone, because nowhere they're talking about peptide bone, sulfur bone, or carbon bone, but then hydrogen bone. Okay. Now the next question is, and again another direct question from the comprehension they have provided. Palindromes are the same group of letters which read both forward and backward. The different group of letters when read both forward and backward. Same group of letters when read only forward. Same group of letters when read only backward. So what is the answer? So you have palindromes refer to group of letters that form the same words when read both forward and backward. So this is the thing, right? The same sentence, the same group of letters which is read both forward and backward. So this is the answer. Okay. The fifth question. Okay. Which of the following option is correct about restriction enzyme? So be careful. They have asked us to pick out the true statement or the correct statement. Okay. Restriction helps in binding of DNA, the first option. The second one, it is known as the molecular scissors. The third option, it has the ability to multiply copies of plasmid. And the fourth option, it helps in transfer of a piece of DNA. Okay. Students, are you able to answer this? So the main function of restriction enzyme is to cut the DNA. So in molecular biology as a whole, restriction enzymes are commonly known as molecular scissors. Okay, this is just an idea. If you like, if you know otherwise, or if from passage you have it like directly given, right? Restriction endonucleases are used in genetic engineering as a molecular scissors. Okay, if that's the case, the answer is option B. Okay, right. So we are done with the passage question. Okay, next we have is the another kind of question, and here we are asked to choose the correct answer from the options given below. So I'll just read the question. The causes of biodiversity loss are, so let me just write, or just let me just discuss that this question is from which chapter. It's from Ecology unit, okay, from biodiversity and conservation. Okay, so here they have asked us to find out the causes of biodiversity loss. First one is habitat loss, second one is invasion of alien species, third one is co-extinction, and the fourth one is endemism. So if I'm explaining each term, what is habitat loss? Habitat loss means what? Habitat is the place where the animal lives. Okay. If the animal loses its habitat due to reasons like deforestation or any of the natural calamity or any other human interventions, that means that particular living thing has no place to live. That means it can affect its life. So maybe the animal may go into the verge of extinction, where we give them the category of that the animal is endangered, right? So this all will lead to a loss in the biodiversity. So habitat loss is an option, right? A is the correct answer. Then we have invasion of alien species. So alien species is something, the species which does not belong to that particular area. The species is entering the area and it is invading the whole area. Okay, which makes the living of the native animals difficult, where the native animals cannot thrive because of the presence of the alien species. Okay, so that can also lead to the extinction of that species, or it can go into the verge of extinction. So that's also a reason for biodiversity loss. So this is also an answer. So A and B is an answer. So we can quickly ignore the D option, right? Because A is not here, B is there, but then A is not here. So we can quickly ignore this option. So we have three options coming. Then next is co-extinction. Okay, co-extinction is one reason that they're saying where extinction of two animals happens together. It's co-extinction. And next one is endemism. What is an endemism? Endemism or endemic species means that particular species is only present in one particular area. Okay, so you cannot find anywhere else. You can only find that particular animal in that particular area. So that is the phenomenon of endemism, and such species are called endemic species. For example, if you're asking, it's lion-tailed macaque found in Western Ghats, cannot be found anywhere else except in Western Ghats. It's endemic to Western Ghats. Okay, that means if there is any problem that this particular animal is facing over there, and if that animal cannot thrive there, it will lead to its extinction, or it may disappear, or it may lead to a biodiversity loss, or we may lose that particular endemic species. Okay, so endemism or that phenomenon can be a cause of biodiversity loss, right? So here, when you talk about the causes of biodiversity loss, habitat loss is one thing, another cause is invasion of alien species, and if the animal is endemic, or if it shows endemism, then it is a cause of biodiversity loss. Okay, because if it is lost from that area, that means it is lost forever. You cannot replace it, you cannot find that animal anywhere else. So in that case, coextinction as such, it is not a cause of biodiversity loss, but then it's synonymized or it's similar to what we are saying. It's a biodiversity loss itself. Okay, so here we have what the option A, B, and D as the correct answer. So which one is the option? Option A. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Chromosomal theory of inheritance was given by, this is just a direct factual question that there. It's just a fact. Okay, if you know, if you can remember, then you can answer this. So chromosomal theory of inheritance is given by Sutton and Boveri. Okay, that is the answer. And this is from Principles of Inheritance and Variation from the Genetics unit. Okay. Then we have the next question. Here also, this question is a sequence arrangement question, and I told no, the sequence arrangement can be from a process or it can be from a structure. So, structure-wise, this is one example. Arrange the following ducts pertaining to male reproductive system starting from seminiferous tubules. Okay, so from seminiferous tubules, you are asked to find the parts which is after seminiferous tubules. So if you have a clear idea about the structure, if you have observed the diagram carefully, you can easily answer this question. So after seminiferous tubule, when you study the reproductive system, okay, seminiferous tubule is followed by rete testis. Okay, rete testis is followed by a structure called vasa efferentia. Okay, vasa efferentia is followed by another unit, epididymis. And last comes the vas differens. Okay, vas differens. So this is the last unit. Okay, and the vas differens connects to the ureters, right? So this is the sequence. So after seminiferous tubules where the spermatogenesis happens, we have the rete testis coming in. Then we have vasa efferentia, then epididymis, then vas differens. Okay, so this is the arrangement. Again, a sequence arrangement based on structure. So accordingly, we can say that C, B, D, A is the option. So this is the correct option, right? So with that, we have come to the end of our session. We have discussed a couple of questions, which is the P by Qs of CUET Biology. We got some idea about the question format, the cutoffs and everything and so on. I hope you don't have any doubts. If you do have, please post it. I can take it over. So I hope this session was clear to you regarding CUET Biology. Yes. If that's it, we'll end the session. Thank you, students. Thank you, everyone.